Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's not your average Josh back here for another movie review, and today I'm coming here with a little bit of a later review than I wanted to. Getting this out is a new movie, Renfield, starring Nicolas Cage and Nicholas Hoult. An interesting modern take on Dracula. Before I get into my movie review, I do want to say if you're watching this, hit that like button, leave a comment. If this is your first time watching any of my videos, hit that subscribe button as well. Any support for this channel is very much appreciated. Still trying to grow it out slowly but surely, almost at 50 subscribers, so hey, let's go ahead and try and get it up there to 50. You can also follow me on TikTok and add me on Snapchat, where I will post content similar to this. But for the most part, my content will be here on this YouTube channel, Not Your Average Josh. So again, I appreciate all the support. But let's go ahead and get into this review of Renfield. Renfield was directed by Chris McKay, and the screenplay was by Ryan Ridley, and it is also based on an idea by Robert Kirkman. Renfield, Dracula's henchman and inmate at the lunatic asylum for decades, longs for a life away from the Count, his various demands, and all of the bloodshed that comes with them. Now, the past few months, ever since I first saw this trailer, I've had a pretty fair amount of anticipation for this movie. I had just actually recently watched some of the older Dracula films for the first time. It was going to be funny and interesting to see how they played on, of course, the tropes in all monster movies, but also specifically the Dracula movies. And just to see Nicolas Cage, play this kind of ridiculous, outlandish version of Dracula in this modern era, it just was obviously a must-see just for that alone. Then you pair that with Nicholas Hoult, who is the lead of this movie, of course, him being Renfield. I really liked his performance in The Menu, playing a very unlikable character in that. And to see him switch immediately, just a few months ago, him being in that, playing a character that I dislike so much, to playing this character that was so endearing that I just couldn't help but pull forward, to seem like such a good guy that was caught in this toxic relationship. And yes, they do play on the codependent toxic relationship aspect pretty good amount in this movie. Like, a lot of this movie is really, the plot really does go down in a lot of ways to that. Nicholas Hoult's character, Renfield, trying to get out from under Dracula. And I will say, this movie being rated R made this much more cool and awesome than it maybe could have been PG-13. The way they use the blood in this movie, Nicolas Cage, really at the beginning of this movie, is this old, decrepit, just worn down body. It was really pretty gnarly what they did with the effects. Dracula's hideout in this kind of worn down, abandoned place with all this just cool looking artifacts or memorabilia, if you will, to Dracula. And this movie really just starts out with Renfield going out and trying to get bodies for Dracula for him to feed on them. Renfield is at this point where he is fed up. He's been dealing with this for, I don't even know, I think about 100 years. They reference it a few times in this movie at about when maybe Renfield started working with Dracula. Dracula obviously way older than Renfield. I do remember him speaking about, I think, being involved in World War I before he started working with Dracula and got the special powers that Dracula gives him. And so you have Renfield starting to go to this support group for people that are involved in codependent toxic relationships. And so there is a level of comedy in this movie that I thought worked for me for the most part throughout. Never felt like it was overused. I did think there was a good balance of cool ass action scenes with blood and really visceral moments, but all played in a very fun way. It never felt too intense for the tone of the movie, and I thought that maybe was the best aspect overall of this. The codependent toxic relationship part of it, I think that's all going to be definitely depend on how you take that in this movie. If you feel like you're laying it on too thick, I could see how someone might see that as almost a negative aspect of this movie, that they lean on it too much. But I thought really the main heart of this movie was Nicholas Hoult as Renfield. He was just so, as I said, endearing, and you really feel, especially if you've ever been on either side of a toxic or codependent relationship, you really feel for his character because you see why he sticks around. You understand, especially if you've been around or been involved in anything like that in any capacity. You see why he's sticking around. Dracula would say these buzzwords and these lines that you hear in other movies, but also just, like I said, if you've dealt with this before or been around it, these classic lines where he's deflecting the blame from whatever he's done wrong onto Renfield and basically making himself the victim, even though he's abusing Renfield. They definitely play with that a lot in this movie. As I said, for me, it really worked for the most part overall. Like, definitely was on the nose at times, but I never thought they were laying on too thick. in my opinion. We also had Awkwafina in here as Rebecca, playing this sort of tough cop that is in Brooklyn where this movie takes place. I was very mixed on her character overall. I thought there was times where I didn't quite buy what her character was, and it's no offense to Awkwafina or anything. I thought a lot of the humor she had in this movie was very much exactly what Awkwafina does in most movies, and I think that's why some people maybe had an issue with it or didn't like it so much. I'm just very mixed on it. I love seeing Awkwafina in anything I've seen her pop up in. She's, I think, a really underrated actress as a whole. But I think she's always just funny. She has that charm that for me, I just can't help but liking her character in this, as she's working with Renfield in a way in this movie, while also just trying to investigate everything that's going on here. These weird happenings end up happening as Dracula starts to come out and do more shit in the open. I liked her at times, but there were just times where it just felt a little off, like she was playing this very tough girl. There's no offense here towards Awkwafina. I just, for some reason, there were just times where I didn't buy it, especially certain situations that she got in. The fact that she was able to handle herself so well. They do try and present an explanation for why she is this way. Her dad was a cop, and then she also has a sister who is now in the investigative field. She's not a cop. I think she was working with the FBI or something. I actually don't remember now quite what she was working for. But overall, I didn't hate her performance. I'm just more in the middle on it. Ben Schwartz was definitely the most goofy character in this movie as Tedward Lobo, or Teddy as he was often referred to by his mom in this movie. Honestly, when he first came into this movie and appeared in the first couple of scenes, I actually thought he might be too goofy. It might have been a little too much, but he was definitely the most over top, and in the end, he had a good amount of funny lines where I was just laughing out loud. It was so ridiculous, it just worked for me, honestly, but I can see how his over-the-top goofy character can definitely annoy some people, and it may just put them off completely, because he's just playing this spoiled-ass son who ends up getting involved with everything going on with Dracula and Renfield, and this whole convoluted, intricate sequence of events end up happening to where he's involved. And he's just honestly just a goofy-ass character that, in the end, I liked him overall, to be honest. I took it for what it was, and it didn't bother me really much at all. This was based on an idea by Robert Kirkman, and of course, you know anything about him. The blood that's in this movie, you can definitely see that Kirkman splash, if you will. The blood was never too intense. There were some gnarly-ass kills that I was not expecting, actually. Was pretty impressive. I thought there was going to be more or less maybe basic kills in this movie, but it was definitely some really impressive. Just the choreography and the effects within some of these kill scenes were really cool. And again, you just got that Robert Kirkman style in this. I just had a good time with this movie. I didn't love it, but I liked it, and I would definitely be down to see it again. I was going to go see it with my friends again. Hopefully, maybe we can do that before it gets out of the theaters. I know it's not doing necessarily the best in the movies right now, but I would definitely say this is definitely one of those classic examples. If you saw the trailer and you were on board, you're going to be on board with this movie. Exactly what you see in the trailer is what this is. Nicholas Hoult, some of the action scenes where he's flipping up and down and just flipping in the air, I thought was really, really cool the way it was shot. It just had this nice flair and style to it that really made it a little bit different in that way. But yeah, overall, the plot is not going to be the most memorable either. But as I said, if you watch the trailer and you really enjoyed it, I think you will enjoy this. If you watch the trailer and you're a little iffy on it, or you're just completely turned off by it, I definitely would say wait for it to come out in streaming if you want to check it out. As my main thoughts, though, and I'm going to give Renfield a 7 out of 10. I think this is definitely a solid movie, and though it might not do that well at the box office, I could definitely see this movie easily being one of those cult following movies where it really gains steam on whatever streaming it comes out on, especially because Nicolas Cage, I mean, I didn't really mention it as much as I probably should have in this review. He is awesome in this. Like, him and Nicholas Hoult definitely make this movie. The way they deal with the whole support group, they really spend time with this support group in this movie that Nicholas Hoult's going to, and they play into what's going on with Dracula as well. There was enough there within the story to where I could have fun, but also be entertained. Nicolas Cage just killed it. Like, he just seemed like he was having the best time in this movie. The way they used the effects on it from the beginning of this movie to what he ends up looking like as the movie goes on. But what do you guys think? Have you seen this movie? Do you not care to see it? If you have seen this movie, did you like it? Are you more in the middle? Are you more on the negative side? Whatever you think, leave a comment. That is very much appreciated. I love going back and forth with anybody who leaves a comment on any of my videos. Also, hit that like button if you did enjoy this video, and if this is the first time watching any of my videos, hit that subscribe button as well, or if you're a returning viewer as well. Any support is very much appreciated for this channel. You You can also follow me on TikTok and add me on Snapchat, where I will post content similar to this. But for the most part, my content will be here on this YouTube channel, Not Your Average Josh. You're looking for more videos very soon, and I will talk to you guys later.